What's up, everybody? Julian Hall here with another episode of Ultrapreneur TV. You know where I'm at, everywhere on the web at the Ultrapreneur. So, a couple of days ago, I received a phone call from Sky TV, and they were running a survey to find out why I and possibly millions of customers left them. So I left Sky maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3, and they probably had been looking at this and wondering to themselves, how come everybody's leaving? We need to retrospectively pull some information together to help us understand why people are leaving, and they are probably going to collate all that information and use it to implement a new package, a new marketing plan, something. Right, cool. But it got me to thinking, how many small businesses or startup companies ask? Because the thing is, Sky is a big company. They can afford some customer churn, right? So they can afford to lose some customers, gain some customers, run expensive surveys, blah, blah, blah. But before they lose the customers, and before you guys out there lose your customers, have you even asked your customers, your prospective customers, whether or not they want your product or service? Now, there was a survey done, some LinkedIn article I read, didn't write it, I read it, and it said that post-mortem, entrepreneurs cited the lack of demand for their product or service being one of the major contributors to their business failing, i.e. they made something or created a service that nobody wanted or not enough people wanted, yeah? And the reason for that is because clearly they didn't ask enough people whether or not they wanted that thing. Now, the reason why, now it sounds like common sense, right? It sounds like if you are going to go down the road of creating a business, you would naturally assume that that business is going to take up a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money, right? So you would, the assumption goes, ask people whether or not they wanted it, right? Most people don't do that. I've been guilty of not doing that loads and loads of times. The only reason why I've now adopted that is because I was sick and tired of creating businesses and projects that flopped, really. And I had to sit back and think to myself, and especially when coaching other startups and you listen to their ideas and they're so passionate about it, and you ask them 3 or 4 questions for them to realize that actually it's not a viable business, it's not got a big enough market, whatever. It makes you realize that, you know what, as human beings, we are quite egocentric, meaning that if we think something's a good idea, we naturally assume, because we're egocentric, that millions of people are going to think it's a good idea, or that enough people are going to think it's a good idea in order to make it a viable business. But the problem with that is that, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is that we're wrong most of the time. That's just it. That's just what it is. We're wrong most of the time. And we then take that assumption, right? That big assumption that we have a viable idea, and we plow lots of time, money, and energy and bring people on board and all the rest of it, yeah? So where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is that the customer, and we all know this, the customer is number one. And in the company that I set up just recently, I didn't know what my entry point into the market was going to be. I didn't know exactly what type of product or service I was going to create. There were so many different ways to enter the market. I didn't know which one was going to be the best way, the best market entry point. So what I did was I put the idea out and I let the market lead me towards the thing that they wanted the most. And oops, glasses are falling off. And that was something that I did because I was afraid, I was hesitant to spend so much time and energy into putting so much time and energy into something for it just not to work out, because I've been there so many times. So I kind of put it out there and waited for the market to respond to me, and I crafted some products and services around what the market wanted, right? And like, you know, I've become the ultimate cynic when it comes to businesses and new business ideas, just the ultimate cynic. So even if I think something is great, and even if somebody buys something off me a few times, I'm still thinking, okay, so I've got a handful of customers, but can I scale that? Because I've been there before when you come up with an idea, you set your market stall out, metaphorically, and you get some customers, but then after a few months, the whole thing flops, or you hit a glass ceiling of demand and, you know, you're back to square one again, right? So this is what I would say. Entrepreneurs, we are trained by the media and the internet media to be the eternal optimist, which is cool, right? However, we've got to wrap some realism around that optimism and apply some basic business tools and strategies before we waste our time, yeah? Because even though there's this idea of lean startup and you can start your business up for 10 quid and all the rest of it, trust me, it will take so much of your energy. It's not just the money and how much it costs to start something up, but it's your energy, it's your time, it's the people that you're going to bring on board, it's the relationships that you're going to engage. All of that stuff is time that you really don't want to waste. So there's a project that I'm starting up with a young entrepreneur, and the first thing that young entrepreneur did, and I had to you know, mentally give her a round of applause, was she said that she was going to send a survey out to the target audience, right? Send a survey out to the target audience to see whether or not they really wanted it. And not just to see whether or not they wanted it, because they probably were going to want it, but it was more than that. It was how did they want it, how much they were going to spend for it, what days of the week they were available for it. There was a lot of the detail around the service that was going to be offered, so that when we do go out into the market, we can remove as much assumption as possible. So that's what it is, guys. I'm going to wrap up now. In summary, if you're already doing something, it's not too late. Survey your audience, because Sky have been going for a long time and they're running surveys. So there's nothing to stop you from running surveys. If you just have a good idea for something, run a survey across Facebook. Facebook allows surveys. All these social networks, loads of social networks allow surveys. Survey Monkey is out there for free. Run a survey to see whether or not people actually want your thing. I implore you, do not rely upon your own opinion, because you're not going to be buying your own stuff, are you? It's going to be other people, and you need a number of people over a period of time to buy your stuff in order to make it viable. So please, people, let's stop making things that people don't want, because that is what is cluttering up the highway of startup success and failure. And it sets a bad precedent, because people see, you know, the lack of consideration around starting something up, and they think it's okay to do that, and it's just not. So that's what it is, guys. This video was useful. Share it with somebody. If you have a question or a topic that you'd like me to cover, then let me know that also. But I'm off to do something. You know what I'm off to do. So I'm gonna focus now, because I can't park and talk at the same time. I can, but it's really not setting a good precedent, is it? So anyway, that's it. I'm out of here, guys. Peace, peace, peace.